And we're live. Yo, BJ Gaddour with the BJ Gaddour Podcast. And today's show, I want to talk about the amazing, breathtaking, highly motivating Paris 2024 Olympics so far. At the time of recording this, I believe it's day 5 coming up here. And, I've always been a huge fan of the Olympics. I hope hopefully many of you are as well. And what's been great about this one is it's just refreshing to get back to the normalcy of an Olympics with public attendance. Right. I didn't even really watch much of the Olympics, like many people, by the way, in 2021 after that kind of basically the COVID Olympics. It was kind of like the Olympics that people forgot about. But I wanted to come in live and just chat with you guys. Also, throughout the episode, I'm going to be talking about, just how epic the Olympics are, kind of what they mean to me. Favorite moments from the past Olympics, some of my favorite events. Some of the stuff I've enjoyed watching the most so far in 2024 Paris Olympics. And then ultimately, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well, too. I'll take some comments or questions at the end based on how much time we have. So feel free to post a question. And again, share, your favorites as well throughout the episode, too. Before I get into this, number one, we've got as I mentioned yesterday, coming soon, YouTube channel memberships, multiple tiers will be available. It will launch on Sunday, September 1st, which is Labor Day weekend. We are about a month out, 30 days out right now, countdown-wise. So just mark your calendars. It's going to be an incredible way for me to take the foundation we built here over really the last year of just like dedicated daily content to you guys and gals, and then kind of going deeper with it, whether it be, first access, members-only exclusive content, actual programs or plans that are put together. But there's a ton of other perks that I'm kind of going through right now and solidifying in terms of the pricing, the tiers, what perks come with each tier as well. In a lot of cases, there will be some initial kinks to work out and trials and experimentation, but you are going to be getting more from yours truly at a higher level, a deeper level. So just be sure to stay tuned for that. Also, let us know where you're from, and hopefully you're watching the Olympics. So, the Olympics this is the 33rd Olympiad, right? And this goes back 2,000 plus years in terms of the original games. And, obviously if you're into athletics or sports, you're probably more prone to, watch the Olympics. But I think what's so special about the Olympics is obviously the scarcity every 4 years, right? So you really have to wait a long time to see them. They change location every 4 years. And, so there's that piece of it. There's also, if you've ever trained, right? This is a fitness channel. So you guys have done probably at least at some point in your life, a 28-day program, maybe a 90-day program. A lot of my members of, the DailyBJ.com have done annual programs, even repeatedly. Actually, we've had many members do 4 years of a consecutive annual programs from 2020 through 2024. So it gives you a little bit of understanding of what it's like to commit to something like this with just a rigid, progressive training schedule. Obviously, you're not getting ready necessarily for Olympics. We have a lot of weekend warriors, people that, golf, swim, do marathons, triathlons, or really are just looking and maybe pick up basketball or pickleball or tennis, or they really just are kind of weekend warriors who just want to play with their kids. But you watch these athletes and just the pressure involved. I mean, being able to represent your country, number one. But the pressure involved with especially some of these competitions where it's less than a minute and you get one chance. Like the basketball, you play 6 games, right? Like gymnastics, you do your vault, you do your parallel bars. And if it goes badly, the last 4 years in some ways can feel like a waste, or you let down your country, your team. The stakes are just at a level, it's hard to even wrap your mind around. I played sports in high school and college, played football in college. I played all types of sports, basketball, track and field, football in high school. And, as serious as I took those things, it pales in comparison to what's involved here with these Olympians putting everything on the line, the commitments and the sacrifice that have to be made with their families. Oftentimes, a lot of these athletes, because, if it's not like a a bigger sport or one with a lot of money or marketing or reach behind it, like basketball or football or football itself or soccer. These more obscure sports or sports that aren't in the limelight until the Olympics, like gymnastics, fencing, archery. Like, you don't even think about these things really until the Olympics. They have to work other jobs and then fit in Olympic level training and schedules behind it. So, it really gives me an appreciation. I've been watching every day. I watch the full Team USA basketball games, and then I watch the NBC. By the way, their coverage has been great. Like, if you, as someone who's involved in making content, and obviously at the lowest possible level here, the scope of what they're doing to cover these games is just like it's beyond me. Like, and I think that's the beauty of, like, when you dig deeper into things and you get a feeling of what's involved and putting on just an event, a local event, right? Versus one where all of the best athletes from around the world come for, 14, 16 day extravaganza, and you've got to get all the media and everything involved with that. It just blows my mind. And they've done a great job. I've been doing that. The primetime coverage at night has been great, which really kind of recaps the highlights from each day, the event of night and stuff like that. I thought that was excellent. So as a content creator, I really do appreciate, seeing how they organize that stuff. And just, it makes me, I guess my worst day of doing this can't pales in comparison to what they're doing from the athletic standpoint. Just having to do a full-time job, have a family, and then be an Olympic level athlete, the training, the nutrition, the diet, the recovery. It's really impressive. It really motivates me. So I've been just trying to pull as much motivation as I can from these games. I know it's only a fortnight, but I hope you guys are doing so as well, because again, this is people that are the best at what they do coming together and just seeing them overcome some of the obstacles, and then the high pressure performance of it really is what, because I've choked before in competition. I won the conference championship in discus my junior year in high school. I was to defend it my senior year, and I didn't even make it past the first level of competition because all three of my throws went far because I had a lot of power and strength behind them, but they went out of bounds because I choked. The pressure of it, and again, who cares? No one even gave a shit. But so again, and this is particularly where someone like Simone Biles comes to mind, and like what she went through in 2021, which we'll touch on later. But it is just epic, right? And again, land and sea, and then some take on more athletic endeavors in terms of you're expressing more speed, power, quickness, and others there's a lot more motor control, finesse, touch, like the fencing, which has been kind of fun to watch too. So again, while we're in here right now, those are just jumping in because it's a live stream. Let me know what have been some of your favorite events, some of your favorite takeaways so far in the games. But that's really what sticks out to me is just the pressure of this all and how mentally tough they have to be. I know it's athletics, but anyone who does athletics or fitness knows that the mind is really the most important part of this, right? You have to find a way to do things at the highest level with focus and conditions of fatigue and other stressors. And that's why I've always found athletes or people that are dedicated to their fitness to be the most mentally tough. I'm not against, building your mind specifically or academics and stuff like that. Okay. But a lot of people that aren't into athletics for whatever reason, some people just don't have a physical culture they grew up in, or they had bad experiences in gym class or sports when they were young, or bad coaches. And that sucks. I've been there. I've had my fair shares of experiences, but I've also been blessed to have great mentors and coaches along the way that have kept me in it. Great teammates, friends that you have for life. So just wanted to kind of touch on that in terms of why it's just so great. And even though I would never do a lot of this stuff, you can still pull a lot of different things from watching these events. Again, I talked to the fencing. Are you ever going to see me fence? No, it's not going to happen. My father is from Tunisia, and there was a Tunisian that actually got silver, which was fun to watch. But just their lunging ability is incredible. As someone who's done lunges for an hour, the way they explosively lunge out and back, and the way there's a lot of similarities in the footwork and boxing too. But I mean, and then just how precise they have to be with the touch, and how almost at every point they score, it looks like both people score. It's almost like there was one competition. Actually, it was the one with the Tunisian who got silver. And like they had to go to the to the replay in slow-mo every time just to check what was going on. But we had Lindsay come through, the Katie Ledecky 1,500 meter. Okay, so she was someone I was going to highlight and talking about. She's on the thumbnail. Wow. So the beauty of the Olympics too, and this is at any level, right? It's funny too, because you'll see there was a meme going around I saw recently where, because everyone shits on these athletes. They have bad days or bad games or a bad season. These things happen in a career. And they think keyboard warriors, right? That, they could do it better, or, you're getting paid this much. You can't have a bad day, or, you're not entitled to have a bad day or a bad performance. And these were like really high level athletes who, like, one day they came across like a pro. They play with a pro. And they're like, that was the day I realized I've got to get a real job, because they are just it's a level beyond what we can even fathom. And then you see this at the highest level. And when someone can separate themselves in that manner, where you look, you feel this is the finish, nobody else is in the frame. And she's got, I believe, the 20 fastest times ever. Like the 21 is someone else, but the top 20 times in this particular event, Katie Ledecky. And one thing they were talking about during the race was, again, because as someone who, I got access to a pool when we bought a new home 2 years ago. It was a lifelong dream to have one. I get in there every day, so I don't take it for granted. I'm also investing a lot in the water because I'm old. And some days the water always treats me well. Sometimes land doesn't like to treat Uncle Baby Biscuits as well as it used to, because a lot of gravity and wear and tear has been put in this body. But I also know long-term, as I'm getting older, you're getting older, the water is going to be sometimes the only outlet for some of us. Like, you get 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and, in terms of finding function and stuff like that. So as I've started to really get into the water, and I've been teaching myself how to swim stuff, by the way, I'm going to be sharing. A lot of time I watch this stuff too. I study these athletes. I watch their form and technique. It really helps me pull in exercise ideas or training concepts so I can bring them to land, water, etc. But the mental component of just like swimming as fast as you can, breathing only to one side for like 13, 14 minutes at full exhaustion against the best athletes in the world, with the whole world watching, and the consistency that she does it with, and how she's also the mental game she has to play with herself, and I talked about this before on different challenges I've done. Hours of doing an hour of lunging, like 5 or 10 minutes in, it's like there's 50 minutes left of this. And you start to have these, you start to talk to yourself. You've got to talk yourself through this. By the way, this is not just physical too. Like, there's tasks in life you have, or projects you take on, or trying to get a degree, trying to change careers, trying to learn a new profession or a skill. You have this moment of overwhelm, and you've got to talk yourself into continuing. You got to find a way to break down the challenge and simplify the complex. And so she was like thinking about past training partners, and it was just, I really just like, I don't know, it was just amazing to watch. And by the way, in the pool as well, and again, not to make this too American centric, though, again, we are going to probably get the most medals like we always do. I am an American, but Léon Marchand, who has been just like, he's the hometown hero in France. And especially when he does the butterfly or the breaststroke, I'm sorry. Every time he comes out of the water, I believe they're chanting "Allez," which means go in French. Just the energy, and just watching him and a couple of those races, like, close them out, and just like he was behind a little bit, then all of a sudden, a couple strokes, this guy just pops through, calm, collected. He's just like a serial killer out there, which in a lot of cases you have to be. You just have to be able to find a way to not let your heart rate go through the roof, control all the emotions, the stress. So that's been fun to watch. But Ledecky, again, like, having done it now I think tied the most decorated female Olympian in terms of medal count at 8. But Michael Phelps, like, going back to some past moments, I'll never forget. I was actually visiting my wife's family in New York when I think it may have been the 2004 games, or maybe it was 2008. I forget. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like his breakout party where like he was just the best in the world. And it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. And there was that crazy relay event that they came back and won, and he was going crazy. And I was actually in a sports bar with my wife watching it in New York. Everyone was going crazy. It really does bring people together. I mean, that's the great thing about sports. I love watching, it's my great escape, because I'm not going to find it with politics or other things like that. I love movies and entertainment and stuff like that too, but it really does bring people together. Not that there's no politics behind it. There's certainly the dangers of getting too nationalistic. There's some things that, a lot of times would only be said in the house when you're watching these Olympics against other countries, because you get so into it and you got to be careful. Your passion doesn't bleed in. That was just one of those moments too, where it's like, okay, Michael Phelps and 23 total medals, like by far the most decorated medalist in the Olympics. A couple other things stand out from the past too. Eddie Weiss jumping in. Love to support the American athletes, absolutely. And the mental fitness and the fortitude. Jeff Pierce is also talking about, Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg has been everywhere. I did enjoy the Michael Phelps scene. He was on the Team USA basketball bus. He's bringing a lot of great energy and a lot of support as well. But so that 2004/2008 Michael Phelps also stands out. And then I'll never forget the Michael Johnson performance in the 400 meters in 96, the gold shoes. And he was just Michael Phelps, born to swim. The limb length, the long feet, the shoulder girdle, all that stuff. I think they've even studied his lungs, and he has a better breathing capacity too. But Michael Johnson looked effortless, and he was going so fast. And as he came through that final leg of that 400 meter, that 100 meter left, and he just increase that separation. And it's kind of the Usain Bolt effect too, when, because again, you start to look at these events, and what's so crazy about Usain Bolt is the 100 meter is really all about the start. It's a very short race. This is a 10-second or less event at the elite level. And if you don't have a good start, typically you don't have a chance. Typically it's about the first 20 to 30 meters. And he's compared to the other sprinters, a notoriously slow starter, but his stride and acceleration was just so next level. And then you got to the 50-meter mark, and you just saw him just separate himself from the rest of the field. That was that's another highlight too, I think about. Let me know, by the way, some of your favorite all-time highlights. Again, you can go back all the way to the 80s or further. I think the 92 Olympics are the ones I first really got into, which is maybe the most memorable event, which was that dream team. The first time NBA players, typically at that point, it was just going to be, it was amateurs. It was the best college athletes. And then, the Americans had lost, and they brought Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, David Robertson, Scottie Pippen, Chris Mullin. It was just an incredible roster, and they're winning by 40 plus points. And it was just the other teams are asking for autographs during timeouts or pre-post game, because they're just in awe of their opponents. It was like, I've never seen anything like that before. And what's been crazy too, it inspired the rest of the world. Basketball really has become a global game. You could argue that of the 5 top players in the world right now, they're not from America. Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Canada. Again, you can argue. I still think there's some Americans that break the top 5, but it's debatable that the top 5 players in the world right now in the NBA are international players, and a lot of them say that 92 games really got them motivated to come to America and bring the game to the next level. So again, it really just it's been fun to see in social media positivity. There's always going to be some toxic motherfuckers out there, but people have been. It reminds me of a pre-COVID time, which is great. We're all uniting. We're watching the best in the world, and we're supporting our countries. We're also appreciating people from other countries doing things we've never seen done before. So that's kind of, to me, what it's all about as well. We have Lindsay says Isaiah Thomas got robbed. Now, if you watch The Last Dance, you saw look, Michael Jordan is a killer on the court and off the court. So if you cross him, you're not going to get on the USA team. And that's likely what happened. I know he says he had nothing to do with it, but anyone else that's involved with that seems to think otherwise. But to his credit, Isaiah Thomas has seemed to have gotten in conflict with lots of people over the years too. So I don't know. I guess I'll leave it up to that. He definitely deserves to be on the roster. I mean, maybe the second best point guard of all time behind Magic Johnson. That might change in the next 5 or 10 years with some of these guys currently in it based on their accolades. But let me see what else we got coming through too. And by the way, if you're jumping live, we're just talking about the Olympics. Any of your highlights, your favorite events or stuff like that, just drop it in the comments. Any questions about this or other things too, drop them in. I'll try to answer at the end of the episode here too. What else do I have on that list here? But watching, so I mentioned the Dream Team, and we're now watching then they brought the NBA players, and then there was this period where they started to lose. Puerto Rico beat the U.S., I think, in 2004. And then now they decided that they made the Redeem Team with Kobe and LeBron and Dwayne Wade, and it was the second version of that Dream Team. And now this iteration, and I talked about with Jeremy Scott in a recent episode I shared here too. It would be amazing to watch those, the original '92 Dream Team, maybe the 2008 Redeem Team, and then I think they've even called this 2024 team the Supreme Team. Different styles, different eras, but this current roster is incredible. I mean, just one of the main differences, all of them can shoot now. The '92 team, David Robinson, the center, that guy, he would never shoot outside the paint unless there was 1 second left on the clock. And now you've got guys like Joel Embiid, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis used to be able to shoot the three. It's been a little bit of a struggle lately, but these tall giant men that now are doing what guards used to do only. So the game has changed so much. So there's the evolution of the games and stuff. I don't mean to talk too much about basketball, but it's just a fun sport to watch. The 3x3 is also, I caught a little bit of the 3x3 game, and it was different than I was expecting. I thought it was just going to be a half court basketball game, but they never stop. It's a constant. I mean, check it out. It's really interesting to watch. I only saw 5 or 10 minutes of it, and I was trying to figure out what was going on, but they never stop. One of the benefits of half court, you would think, is that it's less taxing because you don't have to run up and down. Typically what the old men do or they'll only do maybe an occasional full court game, but they'll do mostly half court because it's just easier on the body. But the way they're doing this half court, and by the way, 3x3 is so much more exhausting than 5x5, right? There's more open space. There's more movement involved. You have to be a better defender because there is more open space to attack the basket. Eddie says, thanks for the great content. I appreciate that, man. So yeah, that's been amazing. Let me talk about the gymnastics because, as someone who is most of my life, I've been over 200 pounds and 6'2", my adult life. Now, now my only goal is to stay above 200 pounds. I'm 6'2". I've never been this light year round, and it's for a purpose. It's a new body. It's a new age. But to see, and again, I know they have unique advantages, right? They're shorter limbs. Again, part of being an elite level athlete or excelling in a particular sport is there's a lot of God-given talent. But you're seeing videos of these kids, some of these athletes at 6 years old, they already at 80% of what they were going to be. And the last 20% has come in the last 10 to 20 years. But you just see how some people are just built different, and it's important not to get demotivated by that. You can watch these games and feel like you're a total loser piece of shit, right? If you take that perspective, or you can appreciate and get inspired by just maximizing what you've got, because there's plenty of people out there in the world that have similar athletic abilities to these Olympians. What separated them is the commitment, the discipline, the dedication, and trying to master that craft. Also, they mentally, they're different. You might have the same physical body or similar physical abilities, but you separate yourself with the mental component, right? The ability to breathe and calm yourself and not get too anxious during these events, especially the ones with a lot of technicality, because if you're shooting the arrow in archery and your heart rate's up and you're not breathing properly, that's not going to go where you want it to go. So that's been fun. It's also fun to kind of think about. So let me stick with the gymnastics. What I shared last week, it's like a 12 shoulder exercises that actually have a lot of gymnastic inspired movements, planches, but pseudo, like, the entry level, what they would look like. Their training is at a level that most of us, myself, I don't know if I'll ever get to some of the stuff, but I've been chasing it for a long time. And I look at it as a challenge in the sense that, yeah, they can do way more than I can do, right? But I'm also a big guy. There's a lot of things they can't do, I can do. So again, that's why you got to put your blinders on. And I know if I can even get like to a fraction of the calisthenic level strength they have, that's going to be really awesome, especially as someone who would fail the pull-up test in gym class and finish last in the mile growing up as a fat kid. So again, like there's a lot of motivation you can pull if you look at it from the standpoint of maximizing what you've got and, studying some of the techniques and exercises they do. I was like, because the really impressed, the other performance I think that's been standing out is this overnight sensation. The guy with the glasses, whose specialty was just the pommel horse. I forgot his name. Again, when you're over 40, names they don't come to you like they used to. So I don't want to say his name wrong, but he was literally there for one event. And any of you that ever done like, what's great about like things like basketball or football or baseball is like you go and you play and, that's it. It's like the game is a set amount of time, quarters, innings, whatever, and it's done. But like track and field, swimming, gymnastics, you have to wait around. It's mostly waiting. And then the events themselves are very short. And then you wait again. And you got to go through this whole warm-up, cool-down period constantly. You've got to stay mentally there and focused and present and just watching his kind of Zen nature. And then he just stepped up to the plate and just crushed it. That was also fascinating. The specialist, he's only there for that specific event. And it was at the end of that long day of events, and he found a way to get it done. So that was really cool to watch too. But check out some of the content I've shared there and see, like, that's what I love about body weight training. You don't need, your body is your barbell. I wrote that book specifically because I love the ability to take one movement and just constantly make it more challenging without having to like get necessarily new equipment or add weight to your body. You can certainly mix that in. But you just look at the shoulders and arms on some of these guys and just like doing these inverted iron crosses, like upside down, not just the typical iron cross. And then, the floor work and the women's gymnastics team was just unreal performances. To see Simone Biles come back after basically, again, the all-time great gymnastics lady of all time. It's I don't think it's debatable. Even she had kind of a meltdown in 2021 and the redemption tour, as they've called it, and she came back and they won the gold. That was just amazing to watch. And then her to work through the calf injury. Of course, she gets her calf injured in this comeback. But as you can tell, it was a serious mental, like, as they call it, the twisties. I'll never know what that really feels like, because I'll never be someone flipping in the air. But when you reach that mental block, and by the way, think about if you ever did anything creative, write, or I don't know, any creative endeavor, you get they call it writer's block, but there's creator's block. I've had it, frankly, in some cases this year because of the intense programming from we had last year in 2023. It's just you literally hit this burnout point, and you got the ability, but you literally can't even wrap your mind around executing it. Burnout is real, and it's really tough to climb out of. So it was really, and to do it at 27 too. In the past, that's the other piece too, is like they're pushing now the level that they're doing this. And as someone who's older, seeing, in the past, like you were like damaged goods in gymnastics if you're like 16, 17 years old. And now she's 27 and pushing it. The Ukrainian, his country is literally, like, as he said in his little teaser promo they did for him and his teammate, Like any moment, a bomb could be dropped on their training facility. They have no idea what's going to happen. But they committed to their training because it certainly isn't as tough as, being on the actual battlefield, right? That's their perspective. And this guy's in his 30s. Like, this is unheard of, to be in your 30s and compete this level of high level gymnastics. Obviously, the two best players on Team USA right now are the oldest players for basketball. LeBron James, 39, Kevin Durant, 36. And Steph Curry's 36. So just seeing how much better people can be later in life, that's also inspiring. And it's a credit to all the advancements we made in training, nutrition, recovery. And I think also we've gotten much better with load management, right? There's this controversy in the gymnastics side of a former member of Team USA was saying, since the whole scandal, the abuse, unfortunately, both sexual abuse and physical abuse or verbal, emotional abuse, that her comment was they're all soft now because it isn't as tough as it used to be in training. But the reality is the reason so many of these people used to be done at such a young age is because their bodies were literally dust. I mean, gymnastics is are you looking at some of those impact forces to be 12 feet up in the air in your floor routine and land and have to stick those landings over and over again? The bone spurs on my left knee are every time I see someone do one of those flips, like I feel it in my left knee. So we've just gotten smarter about load management, which means just like leave a little in the tank. Competition and training and practice are very different things. And that's one thing I tried to more and more put into the training I recommend is kind of sub-maximal fatigue management. It's not about always going to failure. It's about bringing up your baseline effortlessly so that basically you bring up your floor. As a being, you have a floor and a ceiling when it comes to doing a task, right? Your floor is, no matter how bad I am or what's going on, I can always give you this effort, right? The ceiling is peak condition, peak performance, peak motivation, the absolute best you can do. You want to raise both, but a lot of times people can raise their ceiling, but their floor stays very low. An example is, here's an example at the top of my mind. In basketball, you can be a great scorer, great shooter, but if you're bad on defense, when you on any given night, you might not be able to shoot very well. And then literally you have no value on the floor. Like, if you're not going to make a shot, you got to at least play defense and get some rebounds. But there's some players that don't have that. And that's a low ceiling. And that gets you put on the bench and you can't help your team. From a fitness standpoint, what I've looked at is, like, in the past, I always used to, like, every workout, it was how much can I do? Let me push myself to the absolute limit. Again, you can do that when you're younger, but it's still not necessarily smart because it's kind of adrenaline-based hero training, where now I look to raise my baseline performance, meaning I'm not trying to max out that day, but over time, what I'm doing without much effort continues to escalate in intensity, volume, skill. And then what happens is, over time, weeks, months, years, your fitness level goes to a whole new level, and it's not as taxing on you. It's easier to recover from, and you're not as injured. So lots of things to take from that as well. Let me see any comments that came through here. Any questions, by the way, post. I'll about this or otherwise, I'll answer later in the show. My dog's getting upset. Just trying to check my notes here. But so that's the other piece too. And again, these are just things. I just wanted to jump in, guys, and I'm going to do more live stuff. I want to get more engagement going on this channel as well, and talk about things that are more current and not just like so specifically just fitness. But again, in summary, just I encourage you to watch these games if you haven't done enough so already, or at least continue to do so if you are, and take some motivation from it. And by the way, like, as I watch the swimming, a lot of this staying in this game, right? Staying active for the long haul. We get caught in, like, I need a program, I need a plan, I need stuff like this, which, again, they all have their place. But skill acquisition is still the most important, in my opinion, of becoming fit for life, right? That's why I really push boxing on you guys so much the last couple of years, and will continue to do so, because as you get better at it, it gets more fun. you can do more stuff. And then, you're getting your fitness, and it's not the drudgery of like the sets and reps of like a strict strength workout, right? Which again, nothing wrong with that, but where can it go? And so watch these games and see if there's anything that you can identify with, and maybe you want to pick up in some way, in a recreational way that can add to the fun of being active. It can be workouts you get done, outside of the gym, or that take your focus in the gym to a whole new level, right? Like you want to get good at pickleball or whatever. I don't know what it is that you're enjoying the most, but it'll make you be more likely to show up to workouts or design workouts and exercises that will feed that new skill you're trying to acquire. So try to find that, because it is helpful. And, one thing that I really miss a lot, I'd like to get back to at some point, is just playing pickup basketball at least once a week. I'm trying to rehabilitate my left knee, so I can maybe get to that point. It's also kind of risky because if I get hurt, I have a hard time, providing for my family. But I am always most excited about my training when there is something to like get up for, or to like guide me in preparing for. It just makes it more fun and gives you more focus. So here we go. That's pretty much, I think, everything I wanted to just talk about today. Any questions? Anything can help you guys with? You've got me right now. Otherwise, hold your peace. But otherwise, I'm here to answer any questions or concerns. Any favorite events? I mean, I appreciate Eddie, Jeff, Lindsay coming through on a Thursday here. But those that are watching the replay, please post in the comments like what some of your favorite Olympic moments, past or present, events, and by the way too, like if I see a lot of interest in a particular thing, maybe I'll make some videos or content about that. But you can expect to see more gymnastics inspired exercises, because again, I'm heavy into body weight training, calisthenics, which is essentially what it is, and a lot more swimming water content as well, beyond all the stuff you're used to. So I don't see anything else coming through. But in conclusion, thanks for listening. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. I'm sweating because it's hot here in the desert, and I had to turn the fans off for good audio. But stay tuned. 9/1/24, September 1st of the year of our Lord 2024, Labor Day weekend, we launch our new YouTube channel memberships. There will be at least 2 tiers of initial membership. And if I don't launch that third real high premium option, it'll come later. But I am basically, by the way, reassurance, what I've done all this year is I tried to build the capacity and ability to deliver what other people charge for free with ads here. So you're going to continue to get a similar content load you've gotten all year here on YouTube, but the memberships are going to allow us to go to a whole new level with it. Not just, workouts, but plans and programs or challenges. The ability to also maybe get some input in terms of what new content might be, a lot more behind the scenes stuff, a lot more live interaction stuff. Sometimes like this, it could be an occasional live workout. It could be, stuff that I'm working on before I'm ready to share it to everyone else. First access stuff. There's also some cool badges, emojis, stuff like that. But I don't know how much some people are going to be into that. But anyway, I'm going to try to build more community and culture through here. There will be some initial kinks, but my effort will always be there. And I really appreciate your support. This stuff takes a lot of time and effort to get out. It's kind of like a full-time job just to do it at its current level. The ad revenue is about a 5 to 10% of what I would need it to be. Excuse me. I'm spinning all over the place today to keep the lights on doing this. So the subscription is hopefully a way for us to help get more resources to keep doing this at this level and build upon it. I'd really love your support. Frankly, we need it. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna have to get a part-time job, which is fine. If this just becomes a side hustle, that's great. But I'd love to be able to keep this a full-time focus if possible. And you guys will determine whether that's the case with your support. So it will mean a lot. Mark your calendars, 9/1/24. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, it's kind of just a improv episode. I just want to come in and talk about it. It's been on my mind. I'm looking forward to watching more tonight and the rest of the games. So wishing you guys the best. And